ABC Radio Australia.
Pacific Mornings.
I'm a bit of a festival goer. I think I spent 12 to 14 years of my life constantly living, working and attending festivals all around Australia and also overseas. And the AfriCultures Festival, held annually in Western Sydney, is a celebration of all things African. It's one of my favourite things about going to festivals. So at the AfriCultures Festival, they had all things African, from music to dance to fashion, and the continent was on full display. So it's also the place where my next guest was discovered by Vogue magazine. Sammy Benbow is the founder and creative director of Le Prime, and he joins us now here on Pacific Mornings. Good morning, Sammy.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. So, firstly, we can't ignore the news. Can I ask you first about the death of Winnie Mandela, an anti-apartheid campaigner and wife of former President Nelson Mandela? You're originally from South Africa. What's your reaction?
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate for that to happen. She's a very powerful woman with her words, and the actions that she took over the years of her time, she's done very well to leave a legacy for the rest of the African community and the South African people.
Okay, so let's talk about your feature in Vogue magazine. How did you end up being featured in Vogue?
Well, I have a clothing label. It's called Le Prime, and I was selling my merchandise there, and I was wearing one of my traditional dashiki outfit, and we were in talks with one of the photographers there, and she happened to be working for Vogue, and she liked what we were wearing, and she thought it was very suitable for the African Culture Festival.
Yes.
So, we got a couple of photos with her.
So can you just explain what a dashiki is?
It's a traditional African. It's not necessarily South African, but it's for the majority of Africa. It's one of the traditional outfits that they would wear just as a representation of where they're from, and they come in all different sorts of colours.
Right. So to be featured in Vogue, that's quite an honour. How does that feel for you?
Oh, it feels great. It feels really good. It feels like I was recognised for following my roots and my traditional clothing. So I feel makes me feel very proud to be on a platform like that.
Did you ever expect to be in a platform like that for African fashion?
No, not at all. But I was very welcoming to it.
And what was it that they wrote about you?
It was a description of how they were capturing the atmosphere of the festival itself, and they were capturing the atmosphere of the festival itself, and they just wanted to explain how the day went and how the people were dressed and the kind of the purpose for the festival, bringing awareness to that kind of culture, because it's not just Africans that go to that event. It's everyone's welcome, everyone's invited, and it was a very good platform for people to be aware of, to learn about the event itself.
Right, so you're listening to Pacific Mornings, and I'm speaking with Sammy Benbow, who is the founder and creative director of Le Prime. So, Sammy, in terms of Le Prime, do you think African fashion is becoming more mainstream, or do you think where do you think it might be in the future?
I think it's very mainstream right now, and it's becoming more so. Just given the events that are happening around the world, and it's reintroduced to the community. I feel like it was in the 90s, and now it's coming back. So now, and especially if certain events like the new movie Black Panther,
yes,
that's come out, it's really introduced African culture and African purpose alongside with the world. So I feel like yes, it has become very mainstream in this day and age.
Yeah, I've noticed that there's quite a few, African design houses popping up all over Australia.
Yes.
Can you tell us what's distinct about your label, Le Prime?
My label is inspired by obviously my culture, my background, but at the same time, I've integrated a lot of Australian culture with a lot of my designs, just in terms of colours and where the designs and artworks go on to, such as caps.
That we know about African fashion is that it is often really, really colourful. Does it sell much in Australia?
Yes, it does sell in certain events, such as Africultures and niche markets and boutique stores. It does sell. But I want to introduce it to more Australian fashion. That's why I've integrated it with everyday wear that Australians would wear.
Oh, okay. So we're speaking with Sammy Bembo, who's the founder and creative director of Le Prime, and he was also featured in the magazine Vogue. So just speaking of customers, do you have a specific gender that you cater to, or who buys more fashion?
At the moment, it's very mixed. It's very well mixed right now because we try and cater to both sides at the moment, or anybody really, because of the accessories we have, the jewelry that we're coming out with,
Yes.
and the bags we have, and the particularly designs on the t-shirts that we're selling at the moment as well, and the caps that we produce are very, very unisex. So it's very mixed at the moment, and we're happy with that. Because we want both sides to feel comfortable wearing our garments and products.
Yes.
So yeah, that's our goal at the moment.
So what's involved in designing your fashion? Do you do the grassroots stuff like drawing as well as sewing and so on? Do you work with a wider team?
I work with a wider team in terms of producing the product. I work with a wider team. So I source the people who can actually create the product, and then I concentrate on the design and how it's going to look and the actual artwork. So on the caps, we have a lot of artwork such as African animals, elephants, lions, rhinos, and I create that kind of the artwork for the garment.
Yes.
And then I source the local people around Inner West, Marrickville, to actually produce that artwork onto the garment for me.
Great. So finally, where do you see yourself and your label in the future?
I see my label traveling from place to place to let everybody know what our brand and our purpose is. We're going to be from state to state, such as for events such as festivals, live events. We want to concentrate on live events. So we'll be set up in all these places, selling our garments and serving our purpose, and hopefully we'll be doing our overseas as well, such as America, Europe, because we're a big fan of live events, and there's many places to go to that have these things happen.
Fantastic. Well, Sammy, all the best in your future, and thanks for your time this morning on Pacific Mornings.
Thank you very much.
That was founder and creative director of Le Prime, Sammy Bembo, who was featured in Vogue magazine.
Pacific Mornings
on ABC Radio Australia.